LaToya says her mother has repeatedly tried to dissuade her from talking.
And she says, this is something you're supposed to keep inside the family. I couldn't live with myself, and I said, Mother, then tell me, why did you stand there and watch your husband have a sexual relationship with me? I saw you watch him several times. And she says, LaToya, please keep this inside the family. And the more she tried to hide this from me, the more aggravated I became.
With her husband, Jack Gordon, at her side, the couple alleged that Michael Jackson would pay to assassinate her.
Are you accusing Michael, who will assassinate her?
Oh, absolutely. Michael would pay anything to have her silenced. There's no possible way that we'll go to the state of California. LaToya hasn't been there in 8 years.
Instead of her?
No, my mother showed me these checks out of anger. She showed me these checks years and years ago before any of these allegations came forth.
This has been going on since 1981.
This has been going on for years.
Not one child.
And I didn't ask to see the checks. She showed them to me, and she didn't like it. She couldn't stand it.
The one child
She would always tell me that Michael was gay and he was a faggot and all these terrible things she would say to me. And I would say, Mother, don't say that. And I would say that simply because I thought he would be heard. Of course he had his ways, and he didn't have girlfriends, but that was fine. I understood that because I didn't have guys either. I didn't have boyfriends. I didn't care about that. Michael and I grew up very religious. We grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses. So we didn't care about those things, but that was our way of escaping, to get away from those things, because we were hurt when we were younger. Now, whether my father molested Michael or not, I don't know. I do know that he did it to me, and he did it to my older sister.
Michael Jackson's sister, LaToya, shattered her silence about those allegations of sexual abuse against Michael. Lynn White is in our newsroom with more on LaToya's explosive statement. Lynn?
Incredible statement, in fact, Lynn. LaToya Jackson says the accusations are true, that Michael Jackson did molest young boys. She says Michael would routinely have one boy after another stay with him for weeks at a time. One of those boys was the 13-year-old who has accused Michael of sexual abuse, according to LaToya. LaToya's husband says Michael threatened to kill her if she spilled the beans.
LaToya Jackson is estranged from her family, and she earlier made allegations of sexual abuse at the hands of her father. Now, at a midnight news conference in Tel Aviv, LaToya says she will finally tell the truth about her famous brother.
This is very difficult for me, that Michael is my brother. I love him a great deal, but I cannot and I will not be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small, innocent children.
LaToya Jackson said many of the children have not complained, as has the 13-year-old Los Angeles boy, because they've been paid off.
I don't know if these children were apparently bought to the parents by Michael or not, but I have seen these checks, and I've seen these checks through my mother. She's shown me these checks that Michael have written to these children, and it's for a great amount. And I'm not speaking pennies. The sums are very, very large amount.
She then related her own claim of abuse at the hands of her father to the reason she is speaking out.
I never want to speak about it. I never want to say anything about it. But I think it's sad because I am a victim myself, and I know what it feels like. And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life. And I don't want to see any more innocent small children being affected this way. I love Michael very dearly, but I feel even more sorry for these children.
Deepest gratitude for your love and support. I am doing well and I am strong. As you may already know, after my tour ended, I remain out of the country undergoing treatment for a dependency on pain medication. This medication was initially prescribed to see the excruciating pain that I was suffering after recent reconstructive surgery on my scalp. There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false. As I have maintained from the very beginning, I am hoping for a speedy end to this horrifying experience to which I have been subjected. I shall not in this statement respond to all of the false allegations being made against me, since my lawyers have advised me that this is not the proper forum in which to do that. I will say that I am particularly upset by the handling of this mass matter by the incredible, terrible mass media. At every opportunity, the media has dissected and manipulated these allegations to reach their own conclusions. I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent. I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff Department and the Los Angeles Police Department earlier this week. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted. They were supposedly looking for any discoloration, spotting, blotches, or other evidence of a skin color disorder called vitiligo, which I have previously spoken about. The warrant also directed me to cooperate in any examination of my body by their physician to determine the condition of my skin, including whether I have vitiligo or any other skin disorder. The warrant further stated that I had no right to refuse the examination or photographs, and if I failed to cooperate with them, they would introduce that refusal at any trial as an indication of my guilt. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life, one that no person should ever have to suffer. And even after experiencing the indignity of this search, the parties involved were still not satisfied and wanted to take even more pictures. It was a nightmare, a horrifying nightmare. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, my complete innocence, so be it. Throughout my life, I have only tried to help thousands upon thousands of children to live happy lives. It brings tears to my eyes when I see any child who suffers. I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. It is of loving children of all ages and races. It is of gaining sheer joy from seeing children with their innocent and smiling faces. It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself. If I am guilty of anything, it is of believing what God said about children. Suffer little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven. In no way do I think that I am God, but I do try to be God-like in my heart. I am totally innocent of any wrongdoing, and I know these terrible allegations will all be proven false. Again, to my friends and fans, thank you very much for all of your support. Together, we will see this through to the very end. I love you very much, and may God bless you all. I love you. Goodbye.
With a six-pack of his brand-new soft drink before him, Joe Jackson introduced the latest entrant into the Cola Wars, Joe Cola. During a news conference at Sojourner Douglas College today, Jackson suggested that his product should do well in the African-American community.
The dollars that's generated from this soda should revolve around the minority people 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 or 6 times.
There's a direct link between Joe Cola and students here at Sojourner Douglas College. Joe Jackson says that marketing skills and principles of distribution will be taught to business students here and to others at black universities and colleges across America. At one point, the man known as Papa Jackson, who helped shape the showbiz careers of his children, gave his opinion on Michael's recent interview with Oprah.
Michael's interview with Oprah was good for Michael, but it's sort of like, you know, it's sort of like put me down just a little bit.
Joe Jackson later told me that sometimes he is unfairly portrayed by the media, particularly in the recently televised Jackson miniseries. It seemed to imply the same allegations made by Michael and LaToya, that they lived in an abusive household.
I was only being a father that raised the family properly and kept them out of drugs and jails and everything else, you know.
Mom and Dad sacrificed their wants and needs so we could reach the light.
Jackson says what was considered only a whipping in the old days is now called child abuse, something he doesn't condone.
They were to discipline the kids more today, you wouldn't have all of these problems that we're facing today with the youth.
Stan Saunders, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Joe Jackson's Joe Cola soft drink is already being distributed in Washington, D.C., and so far, he says it's a hit.
Young adults once part of all.
It was the worst news Michael Jackson could ever hope to hear, and it came from the mouth of his own sister.
And I never want to speak about it. I never want to say anything about it. But I think it's sad because I am a victim myself, and I know what it feels like. And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life, and I don't want to see any more innocent small children being affected this way. I love Michael very dearly, but I feel even more sorry for these children because they don't have a life anymore. They don't. Now you stop and you think for 1 second and you tell me what 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days in a room and never leave the room. How many of you out there are 35 years old? How many men are out there? How many would take little kids and do that are 9, 10, 11 years old? I love my brother, but it's wrong. I don't want to see these kids hurt. I've been hurt by it, too. My father molested me sexually, and I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels. And to this day, this is my husband, and he can vouch for this. I will not have a relationship with him because of that. But I love him dearly, but I cannot. Perhaps one day I will come to terms with it, and I will be able to. But for now, I can't do it. And that's what I don't want to see happen to these little kids, because I know what it feels like in the heart.
For weeks now, there were suggestions this would come to pass, as Michael canceled his world tour and fled to Europe under a cloud of sex abuse allegations. His renegade sister, LaToya, continued her own strange world tour, showing up in faraway places with ominous hints of what was to come. In London, on a talk show called The Devil's Advocate.
I cannot say whether he's guilty or whether he's innocent. It is not for me to say.
What do you think? You think he abused the boy?
What we're doing now is very, very wrong because there's nothing but allegations. Michael has not really been convicted just
He hasn't been convicted.
And it's not right for us to speak upon this matter. I don't have the liberty to speak about this matter at this moment. It's very, very wrong.
I invite you to say he's innocent.
I want the best for Michael. You know what you're asking me? You're asking me something that I choose not to answer.
Okay.
And I have my reasons for it.
LaToya already stripped the lid off family secrets in her tell-all book. She went a step further yesterday in Tel Aviv.
And it's a very sad situation. It really is. You have no idea what it feels like.
Did you have any indication that these crimes were going on when they were happening?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
When did you first learn about Michael's dealings with these children? When did you first come to realize he was doing what was done to you?
Michael lived at home with myself and my mother and my father. And of course, my other brothers are all older, so we were at home 15 years longer than the rest of the members in the family. And there were always little boys at the house. And they were not just a group of them, but it was always one at a time. Yes, and they would spend nights, and they would sleep in his room. Yes, but however, I must tell you, I was not in the same bed with him, so I don't know what went on in the bed. So I cannot say that he sexually abused him. I cannot say he sexually abused them.
Do you think he's homosexual?
That's a question you would have to ask him, and if he was, is there something wrong with that?
But if he's a homosexual dealing with adults, that's one thing. If you're a homosexual dealing with children, I think that's another ballgame.
I think it's very wrong to do that to children. No, he's never had a relationship with a lady whatsoever.
He doesn't like women.
To my knowledge. I didn't pick Israel as a place for making a statement. I came here to talk about my trip, and you wanted to know about it, so I told you about it. Last night, I watched Larry King, and the subject was about Michael. And there was an expert on there, and she spoke about Michael and the allegations and what went on. And Larry wanted me to call in and make my comment, and my mother called in, and of course she said he was innocent in the whole bit. But of course she has to say that because, believe it or not, Michael supports my entire family. Not myself, but he supports Jermaine and everyone else. They all live at, financially, yes. They live at the house. So they have to say these things, otherwise he'll cut everything off, and they won't have anything. They won't know where to go. They haven't worked in years.
For breaking the Jackson family code of silence, LaToya's now paying the price, at least according to agent-turned-husband Jack Gordon.
In fact, Anthony Pellicano, the private investigator, and Bert Fields, the attorney, I called both of them, and I put them on notice. If anything happens to her, myself, or any immediate members of family, they would be the first ones to look at. And the money would have been paid by Michael, definitely. Yeah. There's been 2 major kidnap attempts on LaToya that were stopped. They were paid and financed by Michael Jackson.
Do you have bodyguards coming here with you?
No, we're in good protection. We're in good hands here.
We travel with one guy with us.
And some of Michael's money, according to LaToya, is finding its way to the parents of his alleged playmates.
I have seen checks payable to the parents of these children. And I don't know if these children were apparently bought to the parents by Michael or not. But I have seen these checks. And I've seen these checks through my mother. She showed me these checks that Michael had written to these children, and it's for a great amount. And I'm not speaking pennies. The sums are very, very large amount. And this is my first time talking about it.
You will be the one to say the truth.
Latoya also claims Michael wrote checks to the families of the boys who stayed with him. Latoya called it hush money. She said her mother showed her the checks and would often call her brother, Michael, names.
What's your reaction to what your folks had to say, Latoya?
My mother is very much aware of all the children that were there, all the boys that stayed there. And she is the one who always said that Michael, excuse my expression, but he's a faggot. And she would say, that damn faggot, I can't stand him.
Meantime, Latoya says her family is standing by Michael because they are afraid of being cut off financially. But her mother, responding to other comments Latoya made about Michael, says her daughter is speaking out of greed.
And Latoya knows he's not telling the truth. And for her to come out now and say these things about Michael is terrible. I feel that they're just trying to jump on the bandwagon like everyone else. She's doing it for money, and Jack Gordon, her so-called husband, that's how they make their money.
So the Michael Jackson family feud continues with Michael's whereabouts still.
By Michael or not. But I have seen these checks. And I've seen these checks through my mother.
Well, her mother, Catherine Jackson, denies all that, says her daughter and her son-in-law, Jack Gordon, are simply out for the money.
Latoya is lying, and I'll tell her to her face she's lying. And she knows it.
As for Michael Jackson, he is said to be still in Europe, reportedly being treated for an addiction to painkillers. Mrs. Jackson says her son has told her he plans to come home to fight the allegations against him.
Toya says she believes the child abuse allegations against her brother and that he's had unnatural relationships with little boys for years. At a news conference in Israel, Latoya said Michael paid large sums of money to many parents of his alleged victims. She says she loves her brother but is speaking out because she cannot be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small, innocent children.
Now you stop and you think for 1 second and you tell me what 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days in a room and never leave the room. How many of you out there are 35 years old? How many men are out there? How many would take little kids and do that are 9, 10, 11 years old? I love my brother, but it's wrong. I don't want to see these kids hurt.
Latoya's husband says Michael has threatened to kill her if she reveals his secrets. Tonight, the rest of the Jackson family called Latoya a liar.
The North American Free Trade Agreement is now law. NAFTA creates the largest...
And given its unusual markings, they watched closely to see who would get off.
And we're watching the plane, and this, I remember, a black guy came out of the plane, a bunch of bodyguards hanging out, and all of a sudden 2 kids run out of the plane. And then right behind him, a guy, Michael Jackson, had to have been him. It's got his, his long hair, kind of bright, kind of like it's got some oil in it. Had a surgical mask on. Red hat, red shirt, black pants. I waved to him, he waved back, and that was about it. It was pretty exciting, actually.
The timing of the King of Pop's arrival was interesting, to say the least. The LA District Attorney's Office had been in negotiations with Jackson's lawyers about when and how to produce the superstar for questioning without arresting him on the spot. But it was believed the negotiations weren't quite complete, so Jackson's return to the United States caught the DA's office by surprise.
Yes, it's Michael Jackson here.
I'm sorry, sir, this is private property.
The media watch at Michael Jackson's famous Neverland Ranch continued all weekend. Would the superstar make a public appearance? By Saturday night, it was reported that the eerie sound of Jackson's carousel could be heard as the night sky was lit up by his private amusement park. All weekend long, a steady stream of cars and trucks filled with what appeared to be the household help came in and out of the Jackson compound. The ranch was the busiest it's been in months. The media gathered outside the gates of Neverland and waited and waited. But there was no sign of the reclusive superstar. Now we know for sure he's back to defend himself.
He looked over, kind of just like peered over like that and just waved like that. He was behind a kind of a dark glass, but it looked just like Michael Jackson. I mean, like I said, if it wasn't, it was a hoax and somebody was really trying to pull it.
So Mr. Jackson is back. He returned on Friday evening. He wanted to come back and address these charges, which are totally untrue, and came back to take charge of that himself.
And I think what I'm surprised about
is that Mr. Jackson made such a speedy recovery when it was supposed to be 8 weeks before he was back. And then we find out that the moment some agreement is reached with the district attorney, which agreement, I don't know what it is precisely, he winds up back in Santa Barbara.
It's truly the moment the world has been waiting for. After 4 long months abroad, with the last 4 weeks in hiding, Michael Jackson has finally come home to face the music. Gone are the rumors that he was a superstar on the run, that he would live out his life in exile. But all of this raises one big question. What about his drug treatment? It's been a month since his own attorneys announced to the world that Michael Jackson was addicted to painkillers.
Mr. Fields, you haven't answered how long the rehabilitation period would take and when Mr. Jackson is going to be returning.
We believe it will be 6 to 8 weeks. That's somewhat indefinite, like most cures.
No word yet on whether Michael Jackson is completely cured or is still undergoing some kind of outpatient therapy. But his surprise return may have been spurred on by last week's comments from his own sister. Toya Jackson said that after watching her mother defend Michael on hard copy and on other programs, she had been pushed to the limit and just had to speak out.
Now you stop and you think for 1 second and you tell me what 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days in a room and never leave the room. How many of you out there are 35 years old? How many men are out there? How many would take little kids and do that?
Toya could wind up being a witness against her own brother. Michael Jackson knows that, and so do his lawyers.
Why are you seeking the gag order? No comment, guys.
Jackson's defense team was in court today trying to minimize the damage from a 13-year-old boy's civil suit. Larry Feldman is the boy's attorney, and this week he'll be taking sworn testimony from witnesses nearly every day. Those depositions will include some bombshells, and Jackson's people want it all kept quiet. Anthony Pellicano, the superstar's controversial private detective, is scheduled to be deposed, and so is this woman.
I saw these mothers taking these boys to the house, him sleeping with them for days.
She was Michael Jackson's personal maid, and she could turn out to be the most damaging witness yet. She's told her story to the police, to the district attorney's office, too. She'll repeat it under oath during depositions later this week. She's told authorities she saw shocking behavior between Jackson and young boys. Even more damaging, she's told the police she worries about her own son's involvement with the superstar.
Thanks, Diane. Michael Jackson's maid has leveled the strongest accusations yet against the superstar. Her story has been unwavering. On Wednesday, she goes under oath, and we will have the exclusive on what the maid says she saw inside Michael's private quarters.
Michael Jackson's bedroom maid.
I was going to keep the secret all my life.
A world exclusive from the woman who holds Michael's deepest secrets.
But I know about these special friends. He will drop one and get another one, drop another one and get another one. Him sleeping with them for days, taking baths together, showers together.
You've heard the bodyguards, you've heard Toya, but you haven't heard anything until you've heard from Michael's maid. Wednesday on Hard Copy.
And tomorrow, we will bring you the very latest details on the ongoing Michael Jackson investigation.
Orders to have a photo of a young boy destroyed. Leroy Thomas says he took the phone call.
And he told me to open the door. I did. He asked me to go inside, which I did. And he asked me to get a picture, which was in the bathroom. And what kind of picture? It was a Polaroid. So it was of a kid, a young kid.
How was the young kid dressed?
He wasn't dressed.
He was nude?
He was nude.
How old was the child, in your opinion?
I would have to say pretty young. I'm sure he's not over 15, he's less.
You're saying Michael Jackson asked you specifically to go up into a bathroom, get a Polaroid snapshot of a nude, pubescent boy, and do what with it?
And destroy it.
What did you do?
I did a Xerox.
This, along with similar claims of questionable behavior, is the foundation of the lawsuit by the guards. But the issue is what the guards actually saw. Fred, did you ever see Michael Jackson exhibiting inappropriate behavior to a child?
No.
Don, did you ever witness Michael Jackson exhibiting inappropriate behavior with a child?
No, not personally, no.
But attorney Ted Matthews claims he holds a wild card.
We have another guard in this case who actually saw touching. We have a staff member who saw touching an inappropriate dress.
We requested interviews with both of these witnesses, and our requests were denied. Michael Jackson has always denied any wrongdoing with any children, and in his initial response to this lawsuit, he reiterated his position. Jackson's attorney in the case is O.J. Simpson Dream Team member Carl Douglas.
Oh, in America, anyone has the right to file a lawsuit. So, the difficulty will come in they're trying to prove it.
All that remains now, before there is another public airing of molestation allegations, is a legal decision. When the security guards were fired, they signed a waiver saying they would never sue Michael Jackson or his companies. But the guards now claim these waivers are invalid because they were signed under duress. Why did you sign the document?
My bills were due, and I didn't have any money, and I needed my money.
And were you told, Fred, if you don't sign this paper, you don't get a check?
That's correct.
So now the fate of the lawsuit and the prospect of another smearing of Michael Jackson's image lies in the hands of a California judge. These days, Michael says he's the victim. His wallet took a hit to end the lawsuit his 13-year-old accuser brought against him. It has been widely reported that Jackson paid a whopping $15 million to settle with the boy out of court. Recently, Jackson has said he settled to stop the matter from being in the press every day.
We got together again with my advisors, and they advised me to resolve the case.
For the record, there have never been any criminal charges filed against Jackson.
But Jackson took Lisa Marie Presley as his bride this summer. Everyone was shocked by the unlikely union. But perhaps none was more stunned than the Presley clan. And now, for the very first time, Lisa Marie's grandmother discloses just how outraged her family really is.
I won't accept it. I can never accept it. But not meaning that I don't love Lisa Marie. But this is a pretty hard thing to accept.
Dee Presley was Elvis's stepmother, the woman Vernon Presley married after Elvis's mother passed away. Dee was about as close to Lisa Marie as a grandmother could get.
Vernon and Elvis and I were the first ones, of course, that walked in to the nursery to see Lisa Marie. And I said, little girl, this is your daddy. And the look on Elvis's face was, oh, it was wonderful. She was just his pride and joy, and Elvis's little princess.
But despite the fond childhood memories, Dee Presley says she watched Elvis's little princess grow into a troubled young woman. Elvis died when Lisa Marie was just 9 years old, and Dee says she watched Lisa struggle under the relentless spotlight that goes along with being the daughter of an American legend.
Lisa had some problems. She became very, I think, confused. And I feel like that she really herself really needed someone to be strong and to help her.
Lisa Marie married rock and roller Danny Kehoe at a young age, and when that marriage failed, Dee says she was disappointed. But nothing could prepare the Presleys for the news of Lisa Marie's surprise nuptials to the king of pop.
I know Elvis would never accept it. Doesn't mean that he would discontinue to love his daughter, because she was the greatest love of his life. But it would be most difficult for him to accept this. He wanted the very best for Lisa Marie, and he would be very troubled.
Troubled by Michael Jackson's questionable past, including allegations of child molestation, allegations that still haunt the pop star and now haunt his new bride as well.
The fact of the charges that has been brought against Michael Jackson, it leads one to wonder, is it true? But it's certainly not good for a happy life and for Lisa's children or for Lisa.
And just think, nobody thought this would last.
And Dee Presley wasn't impressed with that announcement either.
My God, it hasn't been very long. I mean, you know, come on, Michael. That remains to be seen whether it will last.
Dee Presley's first concern is for the welfare of Lisa Marie and her children. But she also worries about how this unusual union will impact the future of the Presley dynasty.
I'd like to say to Michael that there was one king, and that was Elvis Presley.
Yet with all her outrage over her granddaughter's new husband, Dee Presley says she still wishes Lisa Marie nothing but the best.
You can't turn back. It's done. But if this is what you want, and it's really love, Lisa, my prayers are with you.
And there is a new development in those child molestation allegations against Michael Jackson. The district attorneys from both LA and Santa Barbara met secretly yesterday with the lawyer for Michael Jackson's young accuser. Now, sources say it was a last-ditch appeal to get that boy to testify against the King of Pop. Hard Copy has learned that without the boy's testimony, no charges will be filed. Expect a formal announcement on this in the next few days. Barry?
Here at his Neverland Ranch for nearly 2 weeks now, but he waited until today to speak out. Michael Jackson has been here at his Neverland Ranch in California for nearly 2 weeks, but he waited until today to speak out.
Michael Jackson declared his absolute innocence in the first on-camera statement he has ever made relating to accusations that he sexually molested a 13-year-old boy earlier this year.
There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false.
Jackson said he is upset by the media coverage of the molestation story.
At every opportunity, the media has dissected and manipulated these allegations to reach their own conclusions.
Jackson went on to talk about what he called a humiliating body search by the police.
It was a nightmare. A horrifying nightmare. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, my complete innocence, so be it.
Larry Feldman, the attorney for the 13-year-old boy, had this reaction to Jackson's statement.
So this is just manipulating the press. He's good at it. This is another one of these efforts on their part. And this case should be tried in court.
Michael Jackson is scheduled to give a legal deposition in the case on the 18th of January. The civil lawsuit will go to trial in March. This is Gary Shepard reporting live from the Neverland Ranch in California. Now back to you.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
Well, the Harris County Hospital District is giving gifts of life to Houston's newest citizens this holiday season.
The singer appeared on camera yesterday to declare his innocence. Jackson said allegations he sexually abused a 13-year-old boy are disgusting and totally false. Marching orders from the Pentagon for its Don't Ask, Don't...
I am innocent of the charges against me. The pop superstar graphically described what he called his dehumanizing and humiliating body search, and he assailed the media for its handling of the matter. In going on the offensive, the reclusive pop superstar was taking steps urged on him months ago by his supporters. In a few moments, two of Jackson's most vigorous supporters, his attorneys, Johnny Cochran and Howard Weitzman, on their strategy for the next moves in the Michael Jackson story. The latest developments on the weather now.
Okay.
Live, satellited around the world. Spencer Christian.
All right, Charlie, are you ready for this? I'm going to have the 3-day forecast for today, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in this half hour. And here's a peek at what Christmas Day's weather will hold.
Thanks, Spencer. It's 11 minutes after the hour. As nearly everyone knows by now, Michael Jackson broke his long silence yesterday for the first time, speaking out in his own defense regarding the allegations that he sexually molested a young boy. In a statement he provided on a live satellite hookup from his Neverland Ranch with obvious emotion,
I was suffering after recent reconstructive surgery.
He protested his innocence.
There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false. As I have maintained from the very beginning, I am hoping for a speedy end to this horrifying experience to which I have been subjected.
Joining us this morning from Los Angeles to discuss the latest developments in the Michael Jackson story are Michael Jackson's attorneys, Johnny Cochran and Howard Weitzman. And I appreciate the two of you joining us. Mr. Weitzman, why did he speak out now?
Spoke out now because he's back home, he's well, he's strong, he's healthy, and he wanted the public to understand that these charges are false, and he's going to do everything within his power to defend against them and ultimately prevail. It was time the public heard directly from Michael.
Does everything in his power mean being more public and going in front of the public, not just yesterday, but in other venues as well?
No, I don't think it means going public again. That's something that Mr. Cochran and I will have to decide in conjunction with Michael. What it means is that we want an even playing field, and Michael was aware that the public hadn't heard directly from him, and he thought it was important to let them know how he feels, what he has gone through, and what he's willing to go through to prove his innocence.
I asked that, Mr. Cochran, because there has been a change of advisors around Michael Jackson in the last couple of days, a new legal team. You're here today. He makes the statement yesterday. I'm wondering if that's really is a sort of an offensive to try to gain some public sympathy or understanding for his situation.
Well, not so much public sympathy, Charlie, but we felt that it was very important. Michael Jackson, for months, has been beaten by a barrage of negative publicity, primarily from the other side, and he's remained silent. He's a very private person, and we thought it was just appropriate, and he felt it was appropriate for him now to speak out. And it was a truly stunning statement, and we think the American people needed to hear this, because he is not only innocent, he's presumed to be innocent.
He made reference to, you talked about the media, he made reference yesterday to the incredible, terrible mass media manipulating the story, as he said. What's the press to do? I mean, you have the most famous entertainer in the world, and you have some very difficult charges. Can the press ignore the story?
They can't ignore the story, Charlie, but what we really take exception to is really the tabloid press more than anything else. We have examples, Charlie, of this program, Hard Copy, paying witnesses hundreds of thousands of dollars to give their statements, paying them more than they earn in a year to titillate, where the witnesses are tricked, are told various things, where the case is tried in the press, and when we put these witnesses under oath and on deposition, they tell a far, far different story, and that doesn't get out, and it's really unfair then to all of the parties. And what we've said is what we want is a fair trial for Michael Jackson and for the plaintiff, for that matter.
Mr. Weitzman, what's this done to Michael Jackson professionally?
I'm sorry, well, I couldn't.
What has this done to Michael Jackson professionally?
Well, I think it has certainly not been great for Michael Jackson professionally, but he is the best at his business, and I think he will survive and be bigger and better. I think this gives him new inner strength. It's the first time Michael's had to deal with this type of negativity ever. It's horrendous what he's been put through in terms of his image in the media. This is a man who genuinely has great love and affection for all people, but especially children. What you saw yesterday was from the heart, with great emotion and sensitivity, and Michael will come back and be better.
Mr. Cochran, there was a deposition that he gave a month ago in an unrelated case, but he seemed at that time to be a bit lethargic, and yesterday he looked more animated, more alert. What can you tell us about the state of his health?
Well, his health is really good. He's back, he's strong, he's alert, he's directing his defense. We met with him over the course of the last week 3 or 4 times. He's very much in control. He wants to get this behind him. He wants to go on with his life, as you've indicated. He loves children. He's dedicated his life to children, to being good to others, to helping others, the less fortunate. And he wants to continue doing that. This has been very unfortunate, but he's optimistic that people are basically fair, that throughout all this he can still get a fair trial, that justice will be done, this will be put behind him, and get on with his life.
Howard Weitzman, Johnny Cochran, thank you both for being with us. Appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you.
It's 16 minutes after the hour. Next, tips for busy working mothers when Good Morning America continues.
Ovation. Jackson presented the award for outstanding choreography to his longtime supporter Debbie Allen at the NAACP Image Awards ceremony last night. His presence on stage brought the crowd to its feet. Jackson took the opportunity to again address the accusations against him and to thank his supporters. He said that he hadn't realized the importance of their continued backing.
Until I became the victim of false allegations. And the willingness of others to believe and exploit the worst before they have had the chance to hear the truth.
Jackson is being sued for allegedly molesting a 13-year-old boy.
Well, how do you
agree to an out-of-court settlement somewhere between $10 million and $100 million. Several other publications also report a deal has been struck. Some say the settlement is $5 million, and a London tabloid says it's worth $40 million. Whatever the amount, the agreement could be announced as soon as tomorrow. Jackson maintains his innocence, and no criminal charges have been filed against him.
On the phone.
Yeah, Dave? I hope she takes better care of her health. Donna?
For him to tell the truth more often, because if I can't believe him about anything else, and then I'm supposed to believe him when he says he loves me.
Have a great year, everybody. We'll see you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. See you next time. Gilvain, 13 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Steve, thanks.
An out-of-court settlement was reached this afternoon in the lawsuit that charges pop star Michael Jackson of sexually molesting a 14-year-old.
The plaintiff has agreed the lawsuit should be resolved and it will be dismissed in the near future. While Mr. Jackson continues to maintain his innocence, he withdraws any previous allegations of extortion.
The teenager's attorneys refused to divulge any specifics about the settlement, and there was no mention of the amount of money agreed upon. But several published reports say the settlement will cost Jackson, quote, a 10-figure sum, close quote. The superstar's attorneys say their client is innocent, and Jackson wants to put this 6-month nightmare to rest.
The resolution of this case is in no way an admission of guilt by Michael Jackson. In short, he is an innocent man who does not intend to have his career and his life destroyed by rumors and innuendos.
Jackson's attorneys say their client will speak publicly about this case later on. In the meantime, the boy's attorneys say the agreement does not prevent the teenager from testifying against the star in a criminal investigation. Although we do want to add once again that Jackson has not been charged with any crime.
Another Jackson is in the news this afternoon. The government is investigating the ties between the son of civil rights activist Jesse Jackson and the alleged ringleader of a heroin smuggling ring. Jonathan Jackson this afternoon denying any illegal involvement with the suspected drug dealer. Jackson says several government-taped telephone conversations between himself and Pius Ailman dealt with legitimate business. Jackson was named in court papers seeking authorization for a wiretap on Ailman, who has been indicted in a drug case. Jackson, who is a commodities broker, was not named in the indictment and has not been charged with any wrongdoing.
In just a few hours, President Clinton will deliver his first official State of the Union address. During his morning jog, the president told reporters his speech is all ready to go. While health care is Mr. Clinton's #1 priority, he's also expected to pitch for strong federal action against crime and for welfare reform. But White House aides say the president hopes that his address will mobilize national support for universal health care. You can see the president's State of the Union address tonight here on Channel 13 beginning at 8 o'clock.
And still ahead this afternoon on Live at 5, a Ford truck recall.
And yet another warning about your morning cup of coffee, this one especially for women.
The alliances are intended to create competition among insurers, thereby driving down insurance premiums. But unlike Clinton, Cooper would not promise every American coverage. Specifically, he would not force small businesses to buy insurance for their workers. He says the country can't afford that.
What we have to do is reform health care without hurting our economy. But I think we need some flexibility because we really only know how to do 80% of the job today.
Because this approach appeals to many in the business community and on...
It is improper, it's not right to discuss in public the terms of the resolution.
The resolution of this case is in no way an admission of guilt by Michael Jackson.
But Gloria Allred, who briefly represented the boy, says that's what the public will conclude.
If it's learned that millions of dollars have been paid to the boy, then I think that the public may conclude that Mr. Jackson is guilty.
Today's settlement clears away only one legal obstacle. Jackson still faces 2 criminal investigations involving the same boy, one here in Los Angeles County, the other in Santa Barbara, where Jackson resides. The district attorneys in both counties refuse to say whether they will proceed, since the child was expected to be the main witness in both cases.
Without the alleged victim cooperating with the prosecutor, there can be no successful criminal prosecution against Michael Jackson.
Although the settlement means Jackson will be spared the possible damaging publicity of an open court hearing, it does not mean that his marketability will recover. Pepsi dropped its sponsorship of the performer when he canceled his multi-million-dollar worldwide tour last November. And now?
Michael Jackson today probably has zilch marketability.
Marion Saltzman advises corporate sponsors on advertising aimed at teenagers.
In an ironic way, he's committed the most egregious crime against the audience most likely to be influenced by him, so I don't think anybody could take that risk.
And the message all of this sends?
It basically says that if you throw monies on the scale of justice, it bends you away.
For Jackson, who has a net worth of $150 million, it may also have been the most pragmatic way to try to end a controversy that has eclipsed his status as a superstar. Bill Redeker, ABC News, Los Angeles.
As Michael Jackson prepares to pay off his 14-year-old accuser, Sister LaToya slams her brother, claiming this isn't the first time Michael's paid hush money.
I have seen these checks, and I've seen these checks through my mother. She's shown me these checks.
Tonight, LaToya's outrage as Michael makes a deal. First, they stood by each other's sides. Now, thanks for joining us tonight. Imagine how the justice system would change if everyone was able to stop a lawsuit by opening up their million-dollar wallets. It's something few of us could afford to do, but it's exactly what one superstar seems to be doing. Mike Watkis has the latest twist in the case against Michael Jackson. Mike?
Bill, the very thought of someone like Michael Jackson being able to buy his way out of a disturbing situation like these ugly child sex abuse allegations, I think is troubling for most people who see it as a calculated effort to thwart justice and yet another example of how the rich and powerful can play by a whole different set of rules than you and me. Yet if we listen to the words of Michael's sister LaToya, this may not be the first time the eccentric superstar has found himself in a position of forking over large sums of cash.
I have seen checks payable to the parents of these children, and I've seen these checks through my mother. She's shown me these checks that Michael had written to these children, and it's for a great amount. And I'm not speaking pennies. The sums are very, very large amounts.
And not only did LaToya say she was shocked by what she characterized as hush money payments allegedly doled out to the families of other children, she also said it was now high time for her brother Michael to stop sweeping his, quote, problem under the rug and get some help.
I am a victim myself, and I know what it feels like. And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life, and I don't want to see any more innocent small children being affected this way. I love Michael very dearly, but I feel even more sorry for these children because they don't have a life anymore. They don't. Now you stop and you think for 1 second, and you tell me what 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days, and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days, in a room and never leave the room. How many of you out there are 35 years old? How many men are out there? How many would take little kids and do that are 9, 10, 11 years old? I love my brother, but it's wrong. I don't want to see these kids hurt. I've been hurt by it, too. My father molested me sexually, and I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels. And to this day, this is my husband, and he can vouch for this. I will not have a relationship with him because of that. But I love him dearly, but I cannot. Perhaps one day I will come to terms with it, and I will be able to. But for now, I can't do it. And that's what I don't want to see happen to these little kids.
Michael Jackson is someone who says, I am innocent. He did it a month ago. Michael Jackson to the world has said, I'm innocent. The fact of the matter is, we may never find out what actually happened.
Barry Slotnick is a nationally renowned criminal defense lawyer, and he says a pre-trial settlement in the 14-year-old boy's civil lawsuit may forever keep the world in the dark as to exactly what happened.
Now, there are those who say the civil settlement is an indication of guilt, and there are those who are going to say he settled because why shouldn't he? It's only money to him, and he'll walk away from it. Whatever it is, there are a few people in this world that know the real facts.
But one fact that is known is that all along, Jackson's people, from his private investigator Anthony Pellicano all the way to his best friend Elizabeth Taylor, have claimed that the boy's abuse allegations stem from a failed extortion attempt on the part of the boy's father.
The extortion was made directly to me.
the claim and the demand for the $20 million was made directly to myself and no other person.
Why would somebody make these charges?
Well, I think all of that is becoming quite clear, extortion. And I hope whoever has created this kind of trouble will pay for it.
But the claims of Liz and Pelicano notwithstanding, yesterday the Los Angeles District Attorney announced that after a thorough investigation of the extortion allegations, no charges would be filed against the boy's father.
This case took 7 months and has not reached fruition because of the investigation as to whether the charges were real. The underlying alleged extortion charges were looked at, and as we know, they were finally dropped just yesterday. The fact of the matter is, there was a civil suit, and the DA wanted to feed off of that. There are many reasons why this case took a little longer than the normal case would take.
But from the very beginning of this extraordinary story, nothing has been normal, including the very public disarray within the Jackson family.
Michael is my brother. I love him a great deal, but I cannot and I will not be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small, innocent children.
LaToya is lying, and I'll tell her to her face she's lying. And she knows it. She's been brainwashed, just like she's saying that Michael's people are trying to kill her.
Of course she has to say that because, believe it or not, Michael supports my entire family. Not myself, but he supports Jermaine and everyone else. They all live financially, yes. They live at the house. So they have to say these things, otherwise he'll cut everything off and they won't have anything.
And of course, Bill, the multi-million-dollar question now is, after all this, will Michael Jackson have anything left of his badly battered career? Well, you can bet during the days and weeks to come, Jackson's spin doctors will be out in force trying to resurrect the king of pop. Back to you.
Thanks, Mike. When we come back, a woman finally tracks down the husband who...
We need